fragile stockade-like entryway is the entryway to, I think it's pronounced Bubang. And this is where the Jews were brought and then slaughtered. And if this were the road, and it wouldn't have looked like this, it would probably have been a dirt road in the middle of the woods. Imagine the big German trucks probably opened at the back, packed with the Jews, men, women, children, jammed right in there unceremoniously, same as we would do with chickens, pigs, or cows, driven up this road. Imagine amid the roar of the engines and the dust, perhaps, the terror in their hearts as they looked into each other's eyes and knew that shortly it would be the last. Did any jump from the trucks, or were they locked in and they were covered and couldn't get out? The second kind of flat area that I've encountered. Was there an original function at that time, or are these later amenities? Here is the final approach to the site. Here the monument is supposed to represent apparently three upraised fists. The larger one in the middle, the man, the one to the left perhaps mother, and the one to the right a child. This sad that people have so little respect, but it's their colossal ignorance. Some of our youths would do the same. There are a bunch of flagpoles, but none flying. Man, there's three other flagpoles. Apparently it's either been for a run or a swim. It's drying off. Interesting thing is that we're up on a hill. You can see the outlines of it. Slopes from upper right to lower left. There were some structures here, probably much later. Why was this site chosen? Did it just happen to be something somebody found searching for it when they were given orders to look for a suitable place? Did they find it easy to dig? Did they think it was remote enough, like a garbage dump, that the populace wouldn't know or smell or hear anything? Here somewhere? Wouldn't appear to be. This was all terraced at one time, and then that terrace has been abandoned. It was all much prettier looking instead of gone back to seed. Who knows? It's not really critical. You can see what may be Serbian troops or K4 troops. Can't tell whether this is a right fist or a left fist. Amphitheater, it looks like those closest seats have been restored recently. You wonder what it's used for, if anything. Well, perhaps if there are souls, theirs can get some solace from this memorial. Those who escaped, probably to Israel. Here's a sculpture, who knows what its meaning is. The soldiers behind me are not very reverential, but then why would they be? They have a job to do, and that's simply reflect the Serbian government's desire to convince the EU that it has changed its ways and that it's in control of a civilized nation, to make sure that the highly improbable becomes even more highly improbable. That is, that someone would deface or attack these sculptures, but in fact it has happened. They've been defaced. Here on the walk back down, we can look through the trees to the outskirts of Nis. Not a very large city as cities go. These are horses and they're parked, you see all over the Balkans still. The train down there, I think I ought to go look at that. Tell me these sound effects aren't good. They'll restore these back to the point where they look good. and it'll become another thing to look at for tourists. Where I was yesterday when I did my little walkabout, I went to the right, and I'm now going to go to the right, see if I can find those green peas. But there's a small church down there, not an old one. This is the town's cathedral. It's a Sunday, and I have shorts on, so I won't try to go inside. It would be disrespectful normally. Church's big day, and everybody's here to do their thing, I guess. It's about 11 o'clock. Separates the pedestrian street, which goes to the right, and then the other pedestrian street. Another pretty building with a very pretty entryway. The fountains, and then a little bit of whimsy. A couple of guys playing some kind of game, but then taunting the dog a little bit in a friendly way. There's a seat in the middle at the back so that the tourists can sit. The building that you angle off to the left to go down to the cafe and bar street, which is where those folks are going right there. And the bartender guy, whatever his role is, says this is his ice cream, but I actually think it's Nestle. But it's very, very good. My reward for my long hike today, and it's like 50 denarii per scoop. The scoops are as big as Baskin Robbins, but that's less than 75 cents compared to probably $2 to $3 for Baskin Robbins. There's some pretty old buildings and one new one. This building is original. It's particularly interesting because they have embedded it, if you will, inside of this modern glass. Smaller buildings, and then bracketed on the far left with total glass on that building. Right across the square of Milano, across from the fort in the background, is of course the American Embassy. History of this statue, but always looks very dramatic. This is a particularly dramatic statue since it shows what I think is a German soldier bayoneting probably a partisan, so it could be a Turk soldier for that matter. To that blazing red and orange hair that I see here. Look into this part, which runs alongside the river near the fortress, and then sit and eat some of my peas after my 3-scoop hypocrisy. Devices are probably air venting for either a sewer system or some kind of system. Not probably these buildings adjacent, but something. In the middle of the park, commemorating something terrible that happened in 1941. Park at noon as all the old fogies gotten here at 3 in the morning, got all the good benches in the shade because they know which ones get the shade. And then I'm going to have to beat them up to get the doggone chair, and then they're going to fight in mass. That's even harder for me. Each of them sits on one end of the bench, and they know I'd never have the gall to sit down between them. People who may have bought tickets, I don't know, but there's no ticket box here to my right that anybody's occupying. And so I think that where I'm at is here.